Australian muscle cars have long been revered for their speed, power, and raw automotive passion. From the streets to the racetrack, these machines captured the hearts of enthusiasts and cemented their place in the country's motoring history. With their roaring V8s and sleek designs, they dominated racetracks and filled garages across the nation. But as times changed, so did the demand for these fuel-hungry machines. Today, they exist as cherished relics of a golden age, sought after by collectors and admired by fans. So, what made these muscle cars so iconic? And why did they vanish from the streets? In this video, we will take a closer look at some of Australia's greatest muscle cars that have been lost in history, exploring their legacy, performance, and what makes them so valuable today. Number 8. The Holden Torana A9X. The Holden Torana A9X was born out of a need for dominance on the racetrack. Introduced in 1977, it was a response to fierce competition in Australian touring car racing, where Holden aimed to reclaim its throne. Unlike its predecessors, the A9X wasn't just an upgraded version. It was a purpose-built machine, designed with performance in mind from the ground up. Under the bonnet, it packed a 5-litre V8 engine, delivering raw power that, when combined with improved aerodynamics and 4-wheel disc brakes, gave it an unmatched edge on the track. It was unstoppable on the racetrack, and it solidified its reputation at Bathurst, where it won the 1,000-kilometre endurance race in 1979, and maintained its lead the entire time without stopping for mechanical repairs. Despite its achievements, the A9X had a brief existence because of growing production costs and a shifting automotive landscape. It is now one of the most sought-after Australian muscle vehicles due to its rarity and racing heritage. While the Torana A9X proved that a well-engineered machine could dominate the track, Chrysler had a different approach with the Valiant Charger E49, packing extraordinary performance into a 6-cylinder package that stunned everyone. Number 7. Chrysler Valiant Charger E49. In the early 1970s, Chrysler Australia took a bold step in the muscle car wars with the Valiant Charger E49. While Ford and Holden were focusing on V8-powered monsters, Chrysler opted to push the boundaries of what a 6-cylinder engine could achieve. The E49 was the final and most potent version of the Charger RT series, featuring a high-performance 265 Hemi straight-six engine. Fitted with triple Weber carburetors, it delivered an astonishing 302 horsepower, enough to make it the fastest accelerating 6-cylinder production car in the world at the time. It could sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just over 6 seconds, a feat that even some V8 rivals struggled to match. Despite its performance, the E49 had a unique charm. It combined sleek fastback styling with a lightweight body, making it a joy to drive on both the street and the track. Chrysler campaigned the Charger in Australian touring car events, where it consistently proved its worth against larger, more powerful competitors. However, the oil crisis and changing consumer demands meant that high-performance 6-cylinders weren't enough to sustain sales. Chrysler soon faced financial difficulties, and the E49 was discontinued, leaving only a small number of examples behind. Today, it stands as a reminder of Chrysler's ambition and innovation, with collectors willing to pay top dollar for a surviving model. While Chrysler tried to redefine what muscle could be, Ford was preparing something even more radical: the GTHO Phase 4, a car that was too powerful for its own good and never made it to full production. Number 6. Ford Falcon GTHO Phase 4. The Ford Falcon is a car that almost redefined Australian muscle, but it never got the chance. In 1972, Ford was ready to unleash what was expected to be the ultimate evolution of its legendary GTHO series. Built to dominate Bathurst, the Phase 4 featured a potent 5.8-litre Cleveland V8 engine, improved aerodynamics, and a robust suspension system that could handle the grueling demands of endurance racing. It was expected to push beyond anything seen before, offering blistering straight-line speed combined with refined handling, a true weapon for the track. However, just as Ford was gearing up to release the Phase 4, the Australian media ignited a firestorm known as the supercar scare. Reports claimed that manufacturers were producing dangerously fast cars for the public, raising safety concerns and prompting government intervention. Under immense pressure, Ford was forced to scrap the project, and only 4 prototypes were ever built. These rare vehicles became instant collector's items, representing a what could have been moment in Australian automotive history. While the Phase 4 was a story of potential cut short, Holden's Monaro GTS 350 stood proudly as a symbol of style and muscle, proving that Australian muscle cars could blend power with sophistication. Number 5. Holden Monaro GTS 350. The Holden Monaro GTS 350 was Australia's answer to the booming muscle car scene of the late 1960s, heavily inspired by the raw power and aggressive styling of American muscle cars. Holden took cues from the bold designs coming out of Detroit, giving the Monaro long sweeping lines, a wide stance, and an unmistakable presence on the road. However, while it borrowed elements from its American counterparts, it retained a distinct Australian identity, tailored for local conditions and tastes. Under the bonnet, the Monaro GTS 350 packed a Chevrolet-sourced 5.7-litre V8, producing serious grunt that could rival anything on the market at the time. On the streets, the Monaro was a head-turner, but on the track, it proved to be a formidable force. Competing in events like the Bathurst 500, it went toe-to-toe with Ford's Falcon GTHO and held its own in endurance racing, showcasing its balance of power and handling. Despite its success, changing market trends and the rising costs of performance cars led to the Monaro's decline. By the late 1970s, Holden shifted focus, and the once proud muscle car quietly faded away. While the Monaro made a name for itself as a stylish street fighter, Ford's Falcon XY GTHO Phase 3 took things to a whole new level, cementing itself as a motorsport legend with a reputation that still echoes today. Number 4. Ford Falcon XY GTHO Phase 3. The Ford Falcon XY GTHO. Phase 3 wasn't just a muscle car, it was a statement of dominance. Introduced in 1971, it was built with one goal in mind: to conquer the Bathurst 500, and conquer it did. Alan Moffat's legendary victory at Bathurst that year cemented the Phase 3's reputation as the ultimate Australian muscle car. With a top speed of over 220 km per hour and the ability to sprint from 0 to 100 km per hour in just over 6.4 seconds, it was the fastest four-door production car in the world at the time. Beneath the bonnet sat a ferocious 5.8-litre Cleveland V8, equipped with a 4-barrel Holly carburetor, a heavy-duty top-loader gearbox, and a 9-inch differential that could handle serious punishment. The Phase 3 exuded an air of invincibility that went beyond the numbers. It was made to be street legal and resilient enough to withstand the harsh conditions of Australian endurance racing. It was a favourite among enthusiasts and a nightmare for its rivals due to its power, handling, and dependability. However, only a handful could afford one due to the limited production quantities and high price tag, even in those days. It is now the ultimate Australian muscle car, with immaculate models selling for enormous sums of money at auction. As the muscle car scene evolved, new contenders emerged, including Holden's LX Torana SS 5.0, a car that brought muscle to the streets in a more accessible package. Number 3. Holden LX Torana SS 5.0. The Holden LX Torana SS 5.0 may not have had the same track-dominating reputation as its A9X sibling, but it carved out its own place in Australian muscle car history. The LX Torana SS 5.0, which debuted in the middle of the 1970s, was intended to provide a compromise between price and performance. It was a favourite among weekend warriors and street racers due to its powerful 5-litre V8 engine, which produced a gratifying roar and quick acceleration. Because it was lighter and smaller than many of its rivals, the Torana SS 5.0 was agile and enjoyable to drive, particularly on winding roads and in tight bends. The adaptability of the LX Torana was what set it apart. It wasn't as powerful as the A9X, but it was still powerful enough to stand out on the road. It frequently faced battle against Ford Falcons and Chrysler Chargers in unofficial drag races throughout Australia, placing it in the centre of street rivalries. But despite its allure, the market's shifting needs and rising fuel prices caused the desire for big V8-powered vehicles to drop. Holden eventually phased out the Torana lineup, shifting its focus to more fuel-efficient models, leaving the SS 5.0 as a forgotten hero. While the LX Torana SS 5.0 captured the hearts of street racers, the next chapter in Australian muscle car history saw Ford take centre stage once again with the XB Falcon GT Coupe, an icon that found fame beyond the racetrack and into pop culture. Number 2. Ford XB Falcon GT Coupe. The GT Coupe might have been a beast on the road, but it's best known for its starring role in Mad Max. The post-apocalyptic blockbuster turned this already aggressive-looking muscle car into an icon of rebellion and survival. Dubbed the Pursuit Special, its blacked-out design, menacing front end, and supercharger, fictional of course, made it one of the most recognizable cars in movie history. Beyond Hollywood, the XB Falcon GT Coupe was a natural evolution from the earlier XA model, with refinements that made it more powerful and visually striking. Ford introduced improvements such as a more aerodynamic nose, a beefier rear end, and enhanced suspension, making it a better performer both on the highway and the racetrack. Despite its cinematic fame and impressive performance, the XB Falcon GT Coupe struggled to stay relevant in the late 1970s. Rising fuel costs and growing concerns over emissions regulations meant that big, thirsty V8s were becoming harder to justify. As a result, production numbers dwindled, and it quietly faded away, making surviving examples highly sought after by collectors. Today, thanks to its association with Mad Max, the XB Falcon GT Coupe enjoys a cult following that keeps its legend alive. While Ford's Falcon found fame in Hollywood, Chrysler was fighting its own battle to stay relevant with the CL Valiant Charger 770, an underappreciated gem that marked the brand's final muscle car effort in Australia. Number 1. Chrysler CL Valiant Charger 770. By the late 1970s, Chrysler Australia was struggling to keep up with the growing dominance of Ford and Holden in the muscle car market. The CL Valiant Charger 770 was their last serious attempt to stay in the game, and it showed in both design and performance. The Charger had always been known for its distinctive fastback styling, but with the CL series, Chrysler gave it a more refined and aggressive look. The front end was updated with a split grille, new rectangular headlights, and a cleaner, more modern profile. Under the hood, Chrysler offered a range of engines, including the legendary Hemi 265 six-cylinder and the 5.2-litre V8, providing a mix of performance and practicality. Despite these improvements, the Charger 770 couldn't escape the realities of a changing market. Rising fuel prices, tighter emission regulations, and a shift towards smaller, more economical cars signaled the end of the road for big muscle cars. Chrysler, facing financial troubles, eventually decided to pull the plug on the Charger, marking the end of an era. Today, it stands as a bittersweet reminder of Chrysler's final stand in the Australian muscle car wars. So, which of these legendary Aussie muscle cars is your favourite? Have you ever seen one in action, or do you dream of owning one someday? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content on classic cars. Until next time, thanks for watching.